Hello, welcome to another video on our channel. We are always bringing knowledge and exploring in-depth topics that are often left aside by the mainstream media. In this video, history, controversy, and mystery, Lovelock Cave, Nevada, 1911. In the middle of the vast desert, two miners enter a narrow, dark cave in search of bat guano, the essential ingredient for fertilizers. But what they were about to find in the depths of this cave went far beyond any everyday situation. A discovery that would challenge history as we know it and launch us into one of the most intriguing theories about humanity's past. As they dug and explored, something began to emerge from the earth. They were not rocks, they were not bones of common animals, but human skeletons, dozens of them. And among these skeletons, something even more surprising: giant bones. Skulls, femurs, and other enormous bones from bodies that probably measured between 8 and 8 feet tall. They would soon come to be known as Nevada Giants, the Lovelock Cave Mystery. What could explain the presence of a race of giants in the middle of the Nevada desert? Were they just legends? Or was there some truth to these discoveries? It was soon discovered that the skulls and skeletons found in Lovelock were real. In fact, many of them were accompanied by an even more curious detail: red hair and war artifacts, enormous weapons that an ordinary human being would not be able to handle. These red-haired giants were completely out of place with the native people of the region, the Piutes, who had large communities and dominated much of the region near Lovelock. The question remains, how do we explain their presence there? Unfortunately, many of the bones found were lost over the decades. What we do know is that, until 10 years ago, some of the giant skulls were still on display in local museums, before being mysteriously removed and buried in a ceremonial manner. Could these skeletons have been deliberately hidden? Perhaps out of fear of what they might reveal about our past? But why? In addition to the skeletons, more than 100,000 artifacts have been discovered in Lovelock Cave. Among them are giant sandals, measuring up to 15 inches, which would suggest that their owners were about 9 feet tall. Huge pieces of clothing have also been found, clothing that clearly belonged to enormous beings, and weapons so large that it makes your skin crawl just to think about them. Could this be further evidence of the existence of an ancient race of giants? Stories of giants have echoed in cultures around the world since biblical times. The Bible, for example, speaks of a race of giants that inhabited the earth. And for many of the settlers of the Old West, discovering giant skeletons was seen as proof that the ancient scriptures were correct. And yes, there are several reports of such discoveries from the times when Americans explored the many territories that at the time were still uninhabited and uninhabited. But if these giants existed, what happened to them? Were they the same beings mentioned by the Piutes, the Native Americans who lived in that region for centuries? Were they the same ones mentioned countless times in the Bible? According to Piute legend, a race of red-haired giants called the Piute inhabited the nearby mountains and deserts. However, these giants had a terrifying habit. They were cannibals and very cruel in the way they eliminated and consumed their enemies. For years, the Piutes fought against these beings, and many of their people succumbed. After numerous conflicts, the natives gradually managed to win the war, and in a final battle that culminated inside Lovelock Cave, they eliminated the last giants. The giants were cornered inside the cave, and the Piutes blocked the entrance with bushes, wood, and set fire, thus sealing the fate of the last giants in the region. Interestingly, when miners explored the cave in 1911, they found evidence of burning and intense heat at the cave entrance. Could the Piute legend, passed down from generation to generation, be closer to reality than we imagined? Additional evidence seems to support this story. A woman named Sarah Winnemucca, a descendant of the Piute chief Winnemucca, recorded the battle against the giants in a book. She claimed that these events were not part of mythology, but of a true story. Sarah even preserved a sample of the red hair of one of the giants, sewing it into a dress that she wore to her lectures. For many, this turned the ancient legend into an undeniable reality. But if the giant skeletons and artifacts were indeed discovered and presented to the people of the time, why does this evidence seem to disappear from the record? Throughout the early 20th century, there were several reports of giant skeletons being discovered in the western United States. In 1904, a skeleton measuring nearly 10 feet tall was reported, and in 1931, a skeleton measuring 9 feet tall was found. Were these discoveries mere errors, or did they indicate something much larger? The truth is that, amid the legends and scattered evidence, a disturbing question arises. Did an ancient race of giants really inhabit the American West? History, mythology, or hidden reality? The mystery of Lovelock Cave remains, challenging our understanding of the past. The skeletons and artifacts may be gone, but the stories still resonate. Are we ready to accept that giants may have walked among us? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this mystery, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more intriguing stories like this one. And remember, sometimes the past holds much bigger secrets than we imagine.